Our lives matter. Our lives matter. Our lives matter. Our lives matter. We're struggling with homicides and shootings. There have been more murders and shootings in New York City so far this year compared to last year. And more murders are being committed with guns, according to New York City Police Department, who recently released the crime statistic at police headquarters on Monday. As of May 31st, there have been 135 murders reported in New York City, up 19.5% from this time last year, when 113 murders were reported according to NYPD statistics. There's also have been 510 shooting victims. In the 439 of those shootings, these incidents citywide since May 31st, compared to 467 victims and 403 incidents this time last year. My name is Councilmember Andy King. I represent the 12th District of the Northeast section of the Bronx. I'm also the co-chair of the Black, Latino, and Asian Caucus. Today I stand here with my friends, my neighbors, activists, children, and parents to denounce gun violence that has taken over parts of the United States of America, specifically in New York City, Bronx, and Brooklyn. We are bringing awareness to Anti-Gun Violence Awareness Day across the United States of America here today. I'd like to thank all of you for joining us today. I'd like to thank the students from the Vanderchild campus, as well as from the Learning Tree, as well as my colleagues in government, the district leader of the 83rd Assembly District, Jamal Bailey, as well as the CEO of Life Camp and the co-chair of the Anti-Gun Violence Task Force, the City of New York, Erica Ford, as well as Damian Walters from the Justice League and Mr. Lara from UFT. But as we continue to talk about gun violence, why we're actually at this location, the Vanderchild High School campus, which I love, I'm alumni of, has been plagued with a number of high incidents of violence. Now, one thing I learned from NYPD is that you can have 10% of the people create a whole lot of havoc, but they occupy 90% of our time. That's the scenario that has taken place over the last school year here at Evander. That's why we're in front of this school. That's why our students are out here to tell the adults that we have to do something different to give them better opportunities so they don't engage in violent behavior towards one another. Conflict resolution is the way for us to be able to save lives, not hurt each other. When you have a challenge or an issue, how do we come to a meeting of the minds to save ourselves as opposed to picking up a gun and hurting ourselves? That's what today's conversation is about, and I want to thank everyone who was here this morning who is joining in that conversation. I want to thank everyone that's across the United States that's joining in this conversation, and I want everybody who was out here, now young people have said, we're going to do something different so we can get different results. At this time, I'd like to bring up a few people to bring a couple of words, and I will return back. First, I'd like to ask the district leader of the 83rd Assembly District, Mr. Jamal Bailey, to come up and bring us some words.
Thank you, Councilman King. Good morning, everyone. As we stand here today, a day to bring awareness to gun violence in our communities, we should be, as the Councilman said, very aware and bringing awareness to the community, to the youth, especially the children in our communities who are growing up in these communities and seeing these incidents take place. I'm a father of an 8-month-old girl. I do not want my 8-month-old daughter to grow up in a world where she has to be concerned about safety, about going to her daycare or her nursery school, going to school. I want her to grow up in the lovely borough of the Bronx, my hometown, my home borough. I want her to be comfortable enough in the community to do so. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Jamal. At this point, I'd like to bring up Ms. Erica Ford, who is the CEO of Life Camp and also the co-chair of the Gun Task Force of the City of New York.
Greetings, everyone. It's actually the Gun Violence Awareness Month that I'm the co-chair of, and we come here today in one city, one voice, one mission. No shootings, NYC. And it's something that we say is and can be a reality. That no matter how much you hear about gun violence being up, that the Gun Violence Task Force that the councilman talked about, the crisis management system is working in New York City. That I come to you from the great borough of Queens, and Memorial Weekend, which is normally the most violent time of the year throughout the nation, we had no shootings in the 103rd, the 113th, and the 105th precinct, which hasn't happened in a very long time. And that has happened because we have come together under one system to address this issue holistically. So all of the anti-violence groups, the elected officials, NYPD, we all worked together on Memorial Weekend, and we had good results. And the first good result is that we're starting a new mission to address an old problem. Because gun violence is not new in New York City nor America, and it won't stop. Gun violence will be continuing as long as we're breathing. But what we're saying is that we commit to reducing the violence in our community. And the gun violence crisis management system is working. We are all here today wearing orange on this second day of Gun Violence Awareness Month as a symbol, just as you see red for AIDS and pink for breast cancer. We are now wearing orange for peace. And throughout the nation, we will push orange so that we can push in the minds of our people that there is hope. We don't need stop and frisk back. We don't need more police on the streets. We don't need to lock up all of our children. What we need is committed men and women who are dedicated to changing the nature of violence in our community and changing the condition of what has become normal with gun violence in our community. So we say that we have the answer, we are the answer, and we will continue to work together to reduce the issue of violence in our community. Then we saw recently the murder of Jinx. We saw recently the murder of a 71-year-old grandmother. We saw recently the murder of a 14-year-old here in the Bronx. So we know gun violence has no discrimination on age, race, or gender. But what we do know is that men and women standing together in our community can resolve the issue. So we ask the brothers and sisters who hear us to come out during Gun Violence Awareness Month, to join the campaign and wear an orange so people can just see and become aware of the voice of a different answer. And then when you see children doing something that you don't agree, stop and talk. Give them a hug. Know what's on your children's Facebook page. Know who they're hanging out with. Know what's happening in their hallways at school. Visit it once in a while. Just pop up on your children every now and then, because it is our children that is committing our crimes in our community. So let's our people come together and address our issue.
Yeah. Thank you, Sister Ford. I'm glad you mentioned about the color orange. You know, it stemmed out from the young sister that was killed in Chicago 2 years ago. And the family decided that they wanted to wear orange, as I was informed that orange is the color that hunters use also too when they go hunting. So they can identify each other while they're out there. So, you know, if you're shooting deer, you don't want to shoot a human being. So they wear this bright fluorescent orange out there. But also about parental involvement in our children. I've currently just submitted in a resolution to the state, and we're also working to take ownership of it in legislation here in the city. That this legislation that I'm submitting is going to be requiring that if a 17-year-old or under is caught with a gun, that parent or guardian of that child will also be held accountable. It's time that parents no longer disconnect from their responsibilities as parents. We need to make sure that parents stay connected to what their kids are doing. Because you might be in poverty doesn't release you from your obligations to be a parent. Because you are rich or wealthy doesn't mean you pass your child off to somebody else and then you disconnect from raising your children. We have to have a paradigm shift. If nothing changes, nothing changes. Over the past year, between Life Camp, there has been some improvement with how gun violence has been curbed. I will say in this community, the 4th, 7th precinct this time last year was ranked the highest in gun shootings and deaths. This year, that number has gone down over 43%. We are grateful and we're proud to the men in blue, especially Inspector Rule Stevenson of the 47th precinct, that they've done a masterful job in connecting with the neighborhood. But then again, as I hear Sister Ford talk about stop and frisk, no, we don't need more stop and frisk. What we need to do is take more money and invest it in opportunities for our men and brothers and sisters, more opportunities for jobs, more opportunities for fun and games, more opportunities for development, more opportunities to bring the families together. That's what builds a community, not always policing a community and think that's going to change the behavior. But changing the mindset of the people always will be done if you give them the resources and the opportunity to feel good about themselves and be able to provide for themselves. So at this point, we do have another speaker, and I don't speak Spanish other than, as we say, habla poquito, mucho poquito. We are, but I'm going to ask, I have someone who's going to speak, but at this point I want to bring one of our young people up to speak right now, Miss Janiyah Smith from the Bronx Youth Empowerment Program. Janiyah, just give up for your hand, guys.
My name is Janiyah Smith Butler. I'm 15 years old. I attend Evander Childs campus at High School for Contemporary Arts. I'm also a member of the Bronx Youth Empowerment Program. I'm here to bring you some facts about gun violence. In the U.S., you are 20 times more likely to lose your life from a gun than you are in any other first world nation. 1/3 of Americans know someone who has been a victim of gun violence. About 1/5 of American teens have seen someone get shot. It costs $2.3 billion to cover the medical bills for victims of gun violence, and half of that money comes from taxpayers. Sandy Hook is not our most recent school shooting. It's just a very famous one. We average approximately 1 school shooting per week in America, though they don't all make it to national news. In almost 60% of mass shootings, a significant other or member of the shooter's family has also been killed. Federal gun law doesn't stop people guilty of domestic violence and stalking from owning guns. State laws vary on how they handle the issue, but the majority of American women killed by guns are killed by a significant other. After car accidents, gun violence is the second leading cause of death for people under the age of 20. If there's a home where domestic violence is going on, the availability of a gun makes it 500 times more likely the victim will be killed. 92% of U.S. citizens believe people should be required to undergo background checks before buying guns. 82% of people who own guns agree that background checks are the way to go, and the belief is echoed by 74% of the people in the NRA. About 2 kids under the age of 14 are killed each week in accidental shootings. In 2/3 of these cases, these shootings could have been prevented by parents keeping their guns secured in house. Licensed gun dealers do carry out background checks, but it is possible to buy guns through an unlicensed dealer. In that case, there doesn't have to be a background check. Background checks have been shown to work. For example, the number of women killed by handguns in domestic violence causes it cut in almost half the background checks are universal. Right now, 22 states have stand-your-ground laws. The laws vary by state, but in states that do have stand-your-ground laws, justifiable homicide rates rise more than 50%. Each day, approximately 32 people are killed by another person through gun violence. 51 committed suicide with a gun, and 45 people are shot accidentally, which sometimes causes results in death. Thank you.
Thank you for reading those statistics off for us, those facts that a lot of us may have not been aware of. At this time, I'd like to bring up our UFT representative, Mr. Lara, say a few words in English, Spanish, Portuguese, Chinese.
Well, safety is the responsibility of everybody. La seguridad es la responsabilidad de todo el mundo. I have been in this building 21 years as a teacher. I have the grace of the Lord that I become the teaching representative of high school in the Bronx. And I could testify that this is a great place to start an initiative like this one, where we have almost 3,000 kids coming to this school. So what we have to do is educate our children. teaching and learning cannot take place unless we are in a secure environment. Jamás la educación y el aprendizaje van a tomar lugar a menos que nosotros no estemos en un lugar seguro. Nosotros necesitamos más programas después de escuela. Nosotros necesitamos que los niños se queden después de la escuela practicando algún tipo de deporte o haciendo sus tareas. Eso es lo que nosotros necesitamos. Por eso yo estoy aquí en el día de hoy representando no solamente a los maestros, sino a la Federación Unida de Maestros, para que nosotros entendamos que nosotros necesitamos involucrar a todas las personas que conforman el sistema de educación y no 2 o 3 tomando decisiones por nosotros y nosotros ver a nuestros niños cayendo todos los días. This is a great pleasure, I'm the king, to be here with you, and we have to continue educating our children. Our children need us more than ever. So I am here, and thank you very much for that. Thank you.